Greetings, fellow Nazi-killing robots. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to our special recap of Creature Commandos, Episode 3, Cheers to the Tin Man. Yeah, that's right, Dragon. Big one, a big episode. What do you think?
Well, again, I was pretty blown away by this one. I thought, much like those Nazis, I thought this was a great kind of character piece. Which I'm getting the vibe that each episode might have that about it. Like we're really going to be having character focused episodes to kind of that also show the plot. But I think the plot's more so in the background as the season is really about telling us about our characters. And I'm still head over heels for it. I'm again, this kind of being kind of in the vein of Suicide Squad and just kind of James Gunn sensibility applied to that. I'm loving it.
Yeah, so as you know, episode 1, or episodes 1 and 2, I should say, G.I. Robot, big standout for me. I love how just non-ambiguously political he was. I love how it's just like, yeah, fuck Nazis. We're going to kill them.
And I don't know how political it is. It's very much like, Nazis are bad, though.
Right. Which, unfortunately, in today's society is kind of a radical statement. And I love that the show's like, no. The Nazis are very bad people. They deserve to die in gruesome ways.
Very much, yeah.
And we're going to have a lovable robot to show us how we really should treat Nazis.
Yep.
They're not fine people. All right. I'm I think I'm kind of with you. I think this episode just kind of elevated what was already there in episodes 1 and 2. I really think and I'm with you as far as the plot goes. I really like how basically after this episode, it's almost kind of like the plot is getting a little bit of a reset after this, which is frankly kind of refreshing that now we don't really know where the plot's going to go after this, because we thought that Cersei was going to be like the big bad, but it turns out that she's not really.
Yep.
So, yeah, very interesting there. All right, you want to just break down our flashbacks? How do you want to go about this?
Well, I guess first off, we should just talk about again. So it really seems that the episode structures going forward are going to be, it seems the formula is going to be, we have the main plot, but really the episode's about the flashback to the member of the team's origin, which, we did that with the Bride in episode 2. We did that with G.I. Robot. Next week, it seems like we're going to be doing that with Weasel.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, pretty straightforward. I mean, I know from the trailer we saw like a little flash of Nina Mazursky's background, so it seems like, again, I think it's a pretty safe bet that that's kind of structure-wise where we're going. So, G.I. Robot very much seems, I guess, right before we get into the flashbacks, I just want to say this to kind of umbrella both plot lines, because, again, G.I. Robot is the connecting thread between them, obviously. I think G.I. Robot is seeing parallels to his commandos, to the Creature Commandos, in that, the good times, with Easy Company and Sergeant Rockers are basically kind of what he's trying to recapture, and in a sense, like kind of per his arc, and well, seemingly a full circle arc by this episode. That's kind of what his payoff is. That seems to be, he's been looking for the Easy Company all these years, and in a small sense, he seems to have found it. So I really like that as kind of the episode's premise. It's very self-contained in that way.
Yeah, totally.
So speaking of Easy Company, so we have we get some wartime DC, which, I mean, with GI Robot seems natural. Yeah, so we see the GI Robot was basically, he was designed for one purpose only, and that was kill the Nazis. He's Brad Pitt's best friend. Kill the Nazis.
I was gonna say, yeah, he's totally like Dragon. I want to see those two characters in like a fan film together so bad. I really do.
See, that would be like the friendship that we see here, only it doesn't go south.
Like, get Chris.R. Notarelli on this.
There you go. So basically, GI's kind of tags along with Sergeant Rock and Easy Company, and essentially, this was the DC equivalent to Nick Fury and his Howling Commandos. This was like the DC version of that, where Sergeant Rock was, he was always like the cool kind of DC.
Don't we have some sort of rumored casting for Sergeant Rock?
We do. I don't know how. Well, that's the thing. I mean, Gunn's gone on record, and we'll see how true this holds. Again, it could always just be we're going to make logical exceptions. Right now, Daniel Craig is rumored to be Sergeant Rock.
Right, that's right. Yeah.
He's in talks now. Clearly, Daniel Craig was not Sergeant Rock here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how much stock to put into that because James Gunn has gone on record of saying, that we're going to try and as faithfully as possible, we're going to be able to cross over all three mediums: video games, animation, and live action. So, for example, we have David Harbour playing Eric Frankenstein. Now, conceivably, you could see him in live action as Eric Frankenstein, right?
Totally.
So, with that in mind, all the actors that we have cast so far, we know Frank Grillo is going to do that. We've seen Weasel do that. CGI robots are robots, and he's also Sean Gunn, so he's very affordable. So you see what I mean? Like they all could carry over. So I don't know if maybe it's like, okay, well, we get Daniel Craig though, so maybe that's kind of a big upgrade. I don't know, but that maybe we're sticking with this guy. I don't know.
But I mean, then again, it's like if we are sticking, like, is there some sort of time travel thing going on with him? Because I'm assuming like.
Well, I don't think we're actually going to see Sergeant Rock unless we do a movie. Well, if they did a Sergeant Rock movie, it would be a period piece.
Okay, right.
That's what I mean. Like that, like we would see
probably that GI robot would be involved in that, which would be great.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's it's possible. Like we could see, for example, James Gunn trying to tie things together as much as he can with everything. It does stand to reason that we could see either the formation of Easy Company or what happens to Easy Company after GI Robot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, there are some deep cut references here. For example, Larry Fitzgibbons. He is a relative of a character in Peacemaker.
Oh yes, for sure. Yeah.
So I believe was a member of the other kind of neo-Nazi bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so okay. Point being, so Easy Company. What did you think of Easy Company? Sergeant Rock and his pals.
I kind of wish that we would have spent at least one more scene with them. I do like how the flashback structure kind of jumps around to different time periods, but I like them. I just don't really feel like I got that much of a grasp on their. I mean, they basically are kind of like just baseline, like like howling commando types. That was pretty much my impression of them.
I mean, I like that we have a joke about that in the episode with Will Magnus, where basically G.I. is just listing off all these ridiculous wartime nicknames that they all had.
yeah.
It's like falling on deaf ears.
I don't know any of those people.
Well, that's the gag. Exactly. That's it right there. We're Easy Company, and even to a lesser degree, that at least the Howling Commandos come back, and they have like an Infinity Serum thing in the comics, where a lot of them like Dum Dum Dugan survived. Like that, they all survived in the comics. Easy Company, on the other hand, they did not. We usually time travel to get to those guys and everything. But the point being, they did not have the stay power of the Howling Commandos, but they had like jovial nicknames. This is basically like we're telling wartime stories with DC, and Sergeant Rock was really like the only carryover. Then if we had like ever flash back to him, we would see the once Bulldozer's a standout. He's a big guy. Then you have the occasion. We have like the Native American soldier of the bunch. With we have Wild Man and Sure Shot was the Native American member of the company.
Mm-hmm.
And we have like Four Eyes and Wildman and Canary and Bogman.
Yeah, they're all fun characters. I just don't really have that much of a grasp on their personality. But
yeah, no, sure, I'm with you. I just like I like that we funnel it through GI Robot though, where whether or not these guys leave an impression though, they left a major impression with this earnest Nazi killing robot.
Yeah, you know what? I do like how I honestly kind of thought that. I thought we might have been getting a fake out where at first, when the Nazis first attacked, I thought what was going to happen was all these guys were going to get gunned down, and that was just going to give GI Robot like his drive to kill Nazis, But no, I like that he's literally just had that from the start, and it's like no, he kicks ass and he gets them out of the scrap. And I really like that as kind of like a subversion.
Again, so I love that Gunn's kind of had this, he struck this balance. It's kind of been in all of his work to some degree, and mixing kind of like the, kind of the genuine heart with, kind of like darkness, more so in this case, most usually violence. And with that, kind of darkness and really kind of tragedy, and I guess tragedy is probably the better word for it, kind of tragedy and violence. In this case, we see that he is really bonded with these guys, and he has a very positive kind of chipper outlook. But again, like the way he bonds with people is through extreme violence.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, it's a really lovely thing.
Even
where
when the show paints that as literally like an adorable connection, it's still like, well, no, he still very much just wants to bond over killing Nazis.
Yeah, that's the thing though. But again, it's so precious where he's in that bar and he says, "I don't care if he is metal. He's a brother. He's a brother us." And cheers to the Tin Man, which again is just this lovely kind of like high of like the high point of his whole life for this robot, which is
totally.
Which is very endearing. So already retroactively, we've taken like this weird, quirky kind of character thing of like, man, he really wants to kill Nazis. And he's just talking about that. Well, this guy is stuck in the past, but we see why he's stuck in the past. And again, you could look at it as programming, or you could look at it as genuine. I mean, a court of law deems this guy a man. So, to some level, there's like a really, there is a personality there. There is like an id. There is a drive there, even if he is like convinced it's programming.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, that was that was really really nice, really violent, but really nice. Just kind of seeing how that all kind of paid off there. So, and then we connect to the present day where they rescue Nina Mazursky and the bride, and GI Robot. We see he was really a good friend to Nina. He finds her in the in the tub and everything. He's carrying the tub for her because she can't survive out of the water.
I love that.
Yeah, he's very nice to her.
Yeah. No, I love this relationship with Nina. Like it's very wholesome. It doesn't really get a lot of screen time, but they do a lot with a little in that regard.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So with that too. Again, it's just this really nice thing where ultimately she just she was like the only one to entertain the Nazi killing, the only one to like kind of spin it. And that was like he's looking for acknowledgement and friendship. That's kind of what this character really is looking for in like 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I guess over 30 years. 30 years since he was kind of like put in prison, but we'll get there in a second. So let's I want to talk about this. So pressing forward in the flashbacks. We have a very James Gunn moment. I don't mean to keep throwing around the man's name. It's just kind of he's become a verb. You kind of become that when you become a student, ahead of a kind of head of a film, kind of film.
But you know what? As much as we respect Feige, I don't really think Feige ever had like a personal style to him in the same way James Gunn does.
That's a thing, Feige. He's the man in the hat. Aside from that, we can't turn his name into a verb. You can't say Feige did. James Gunn. He's got a built-in style, and now he's in this very unique space. Where now he's a Feige and a verb.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we have this very James Gunn stylistic bit where GI Robot is making the TV audience feel very uncomfortable, and I really like that. Again, Gunn throughout this, he's basically making a statement that look, I'm not going to sand off any of the stylistic things I usually do in my work here. I'm not. It basically seems like he's not going the figurehead route here. It seems like no, this is going to feel the way I would direct it.
Mm-hmm.
Saying the fact that we have like the TV audience and him talking about Nazis making everyone comfortable. I really thought he might have like killed someone by accident or killed a secret neo-Nazi, but on live television. I thought that's the direction that was going. So I love that there. But regardless, it's the fact that we can't really bring this guy on tour and everything because he's making people uncomfortable just talking about killing Nazis all the time. Versus just kind of doing it gingerly.
That's what a Nazi would say.
Yeah.
I love how even when he's accusing people of being Nazis, he's got like this game show host kind of candor to him.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. Like, I think I want to say, I'd like to say James Gunn might be having some parallels there. And again, you could always like look at kind of the creator and kind of his work and see the fingerprints that transfer between the two. It feels like James Gunn with his kind of his penchants for making these outsider characters kind of ever lovable or kind of like the focal point, like the characters who are very much seen as kind of the oddballs, the wackos, or like the potentially dangerous individuals. James Gunn putting himself in these things a lot of the time, it feels like, and just kind of like maybe how he's felt in life. And, obviously he turned it around, turned into a very positive thing. And I like that these kind of moments kind of shine through. Like, it feels like, he could identify pretty much the whole cast of Creature Commandos, of the monsters, of the outcasts, and here of the GI robot. The guy who's like maybe saying the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. So what do you think of Dr. Will Magnus?
Definitely an interesting presence. I don't really. I feel like I could kind of go either way. It's almost kind of interesting because I think you can kind of draw a parallel to him and Victor Frankenstein from episode 2. Where I feel like on some level he does want to understand the robot, but at the same time, it's like I don't necessarily know if he's got the best intentions at heart. You know what I mean?
Well, that's a good question, Tiki, because he is using GI Robot to kind of serve his own needs. Now, traditionally, his own needs are very positive. He builds a superhero team, the Metal Men.
Yeah.
And we saw them on the drawing board and everything when we kind of cut there. And the idea of these guys are you remember the Metal Men, right?
Yeah, I do.
So that's the thing is, kind of a happy-go-lucky, kind of Silver Agey kind of bunch of metal morphin guys, and traditionally very happy-go-lucky, but they do pretty much worship the guy. So there's always a little bit of like, oh man, is the guy kind of? It's like Reed Richards with an ego to match. It's kind of the vibe of Will Magnus.
Sure.
You kind of have to wonder though, like he is. He basically is using GI Robot to kind of to his own means to basically develop a more sophisticated android. Which he succeeds at. But I do love though there is a little bit of tension though, like when GI Robot kind of comes to and his legs are missing. You got to wonder, why did he take his legs away?
Yeah, no, again, it's kind of like, like you could kind of look at it as it's almost like on some level there's like a little bit of like a Professor Broom from Hellboy quality to him, where like he is just kind of making the best out of the situation, but at the same time, there's something a little bit more nefarious at play too. So
I was wondering if we were going to take a sinister turn with Will Magnus. And I was pleasantly surprised that again we don't have all the answers.
Comic guy. I feel like I've heard his name before.
Well, that's I'm just saying he's the guy who creates the Metal Men. That's Will Magnus's whole shtick. Like that's his thing. Nothing really beyond that. Just he's just a smart guy who built robots, and maybe technology is spun off from what he's done since then. But let's just say he's it's primarily it. But he's he's like the old school. Like, what if Reed Richards built the team instead of like went into space with the team?
Got it.
Anyway, it is interesting though. This is the first time we've had a face character for Alan Tudyk. So Alan Tudyk is cast as this character, and he's also been cast as a lot of other characters. The other characters though do not have faces. We got Dr. Phosphorus, and eventually we will have Clayface.
What do you think of that news that we're getting a Clayface movie?
Well, that's the thing. Initially, I was wondering how true it is, but if the reports to be believed, it's going to be in this new DC universe that we are building. And
is it not going to be in the Matt Reeves verse? Is it going to be its own thing?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not going to be Matt Reeves. Matt Reeves, I think they announced Matt Reeves is doing. Matt Reeves, I forget how official this is, but it sounds like Matt Reeves is going to be doing, it's Scarecrow and, we announced the other one. I'm blanking on who the other one was.
So Matt Reeves is basically going to be going the direction that we've been speculating, where it's going to be like, we'll get like a season of a villain, and then a Batman movie, and then another season of another villain, right?
Well, I don't know how official that is, but it sounds that seems to be the direction we're going in now. From all intents and purposes, it sounds like Mike Flanagan. And you know Mike Flanagan, right?
Of course I know Mike Flanagan.
Good. So Mike Flanagan's doing this Clayface movie, and
that's perfect for him.
And apparently, the reports as they've been coming in are that he loves Batman the animated series. So he's very much basing this off kind of like the animated series take. For example, it might not be Basil Carlo the actor; it might be Matt Hagen. That's gonna be interesting because Matt Hagen was an actor in Batman the animated series. They kind of blended the different Clayfaces, so we'll see how that goes. But Matt Hagen could be interesting. Regardless, it sounds like the Clayface that we will be introduced to in this show will probably carry over to Mike Flanagan Clayface, but I don't know. I don't know. I have a theory. I theorize that the Mike Flanagan Clayface is the origin point of Clayface, in which he will start off grounded and being able to shapeshift his face, because they think I heard somewhere they're going to base a little bit more off the like a Dark Man kind of a thing.
Uh-huh.
Now that is traditionally how Clayface starts, though, and we definitely have the full-on morphing Clayface in this show at some point. Now I would like to think that's where, so as Mike Flanagan might be the origin point.
Right.
Which could work, I mean, if we have a Batman there, it would work even better. But we'll see.
All right.
Anyway, so okay, but sorry. The important takeaway with the Will Magnus thing is we asked G.I. Robot what he wants, and it seems like G.I. Robot, he struggles with what most soldiers have. Mind you, it's only literalized here, but it's basically he was built for war and battle, and without the war, he has no purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I like the answer. The ultimate answer is like he misses his friends, and there's a hesitation, a stall, to kill Nazis with. But still, with friends, it seems like friends is the grounding element there. That he basically wants his friends back, and if killing Nazis kind of brings back the memories of the old times. I mean, how do you take that? Do you take that as like he literally just wants to kill Nazis because that's his programming, or is it the friends thing? He misses his friends.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, like, as we kind of established with Nina, in a very kind of problematic but also kind of endearing way, killing Nazis is his love language, very literally. So I much like how I struggle to bond with people if it's not about movies and pop culture, G.I. Robot struggles to bond with people if it's not about killing Nazis. And what can I say? Yep. we weird people are what we are,
Yep. Now, one of the things that may bring into that, though, if he does miss his friends, you have to wonder, though, is that he would like to kill the Nazis one last time in the hopes that maybe someday he will be reunited with his friends. Do you think it's kind of a robot with a soul, kind of like the Iron Giant?
Uh-huh. I don't know.
Okay. So, Cersei...
God.
Not Cersei, because God forbid we have like 2 Cerseis in the world. Cersei attacks the castle. This is pretty clever on her part. We're going to kidnap the monsters to lure away the creature commandos, and we will, we'll attack the princess in the meantime. So, pretty harrowing this whole like attack on the castle is, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she wants the princess dead. She puts up a good fight, kills her pursuers. Very cool, All right. I guess the other thing too, before we just get to the ending, is it's a pretty straightforward episode in terms of plot. Like then we have the big thing with Cersei, but Sam Fitzgibbon.
Honestly, I'm kind of struggling to talk around like the big moment. So if I'm
we're about to do that right now. So Sam Fitzgibbon. So James Gunn's secret weapon he pulled in episode 3, the charm of Michael Rooker.
Oh my God! Yeah, of course, it's Michael Rooker. I do hope that Michael Rooker has another role besides this douche, but because like I hope that he's like actually Michael Rooker would make a really good Perry White. I know he's not Perry White, but I think he would make a good Perry White, like an unconventional Perry White.
I mean, he would, but it's kind of interesting though. It'd be really funny if we just keep using Michael Rooker, but we keep killing off his characters, because we already did it once in the Suicide Squad movie.
And Yondu is dead as well, so yeah, that would be kind of appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That we could bring him back.
I feel like he is as an actor kind of in that Sean Bean mold, where like he doesn't most of the time he doesn't make it out of what he's in alive. Like Walking Dead was very much the same way.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. James Gunn, I think, is like a pattern. Like he keeps killing off Michael Rooker in all the movies that he's been in.
Right, yeah.
Essentially, I mean, ultimately, if you count Guardians,
I would be totally down for him just like routinely showing up to get killed off in different roles. I would be totally down for that being like a running gag within this universe.
There you go.
But yeah, so I like how this guy is like, at first we just think he's like someone who's just an old time, like a guy, like almost like a Steve Rogers, right? Where he wanted to go to war, but he couldn't because of a physical disability, but he has a lot of respect for the troops. He has a lot of respect for, military memorabilia. As soon as he mentioned like that he had a cause, though, I was like, oh, this is not going to end well.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. He is so, again, he seems, one, he's very pro-America, which we're going to see ultimately might not be a good thing.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I mean, he gives GI a sense of companionship and civility, where they kind of form a bit of a family. And again, per like if GI Robot's looking for easy company, this is seemingly the closest he was going to get. Where this guy is very into the war, a lot of reverence. We have him like with the cats and everything. And I love the little bit where he puts a coat on him and everything to help prevent the rust.
Right. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
So yes, so
I do
Robot,
not get cold, sir.
So he finds a sense of family and everything, and I had like the suspicion of where this was going. I was like, wait, they're not gonna. Oh no, they're not gonna do that, are they? And then, oh my god, with a smile on your face, like, oh my god, yes, we are doing this. This is twisted all the right ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a nice bonding thing with them, though. The fact that he couldn't fulfill his purpose either. Which is kind of what G.I. Robot's struggling with now. He can't fulfill his purpose, and he wanted to go to the war, but he couldn't because he was physically held back.
Right.
So
yeah.
we learn. So we go to a meeting, and
but it turns out that he probably, let's just say, he probably wanted to kill Japanese people more than he wanted to kill Nazis.
Yeah. So that's the thing. So initially, when he said a meeting, I was like, "Oh no!"
Right. Yeah.
Basically, I thought a meeting can be one of two things, and in the end, they combined them because you could either be a militia or it can be neo-Nazis, and sometimes the two coincide. In this case, they coincided. Sometimes the militia guys are more like the world's going to end kind of stuff. So I mean, it's
sure. Yeah.
But ultimately, it was
which, as we saw in The Last of Us, it actually like those kind of guys actually led to one of the most like heartwarming episodes of the whole show in that regard. So those guys aren't always bad.
Anyway, so we learned that Sam is part of this neo-Nazi militia, and it's a caution, and it's the cautionary tale here that in connection with Peacemaker, as we kind of saw, is that you can have like ties to people you're really not comfortable with sometimes.
Uh-huh.
And again, I just love in the moment you see G.I. putting the pieces together and seeing the tattoos and everything. And of course, like right playing on the screen, big swastika, and it's like, oh boy, Nazis. I just love the tension though. Of like, I just love the tension. Now here, do you think that's like, oh boy, Nazis, or do you think that's like, oh boy, Nazis?
I think it's a little both. I honestly read it as a little both. It's like, because like I think at this point he is kind of emotionally attached to Sam, right?
Yep.
And he knows that he's going to have to kill Sam.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, this is like he's about to get his fix. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like,
the thing. It's the like programming overriding.
Back on the wagon hardcore, and he's stoked about it.
Yep, I love that it's like it's Sam. Though I love that Sam is the first person that he kills with that hesitation, though.
Mm-hmm.
With that, I like that it's it's the programming, and he just knows in his core.
It goes back to what I loved about him to begin with, which is that he is just very politically unambiguous. If you are a Nazi, you gotta fucking die. Yep. It doesn't matter if you gave me a coat.
I do love that, again, like in contrast to something like Peacemaker. Again, Peacemaker has a complication that his father and is basically where he comes from are a bunch of white supremacists, essentially neo-Nazis, essentially. Mm-hmm. And yet, though, he loves his father. Again, he doesn't love what he believes in, but again, he just, the thing is, Peter doesn't view himself as racist.
I feel like a lot of people are going through that nowadays.
But that's the thing, though. I love that, Peacemaker's in that complicated kind of set there. And
maybe not full-on neo-Nazi, but yeah, Fox News, Trump, yeah, Anyways.
Anyway. I just like though that we, on the flip side of that, we have very clear cut. Giro knows exactly how he feels about it,
Sure.
and then we parallel. So again, we parallel this moment of great violence to the present day moment of great violence. The edit's very solid, and I can't tell you, this song is such an earworm for me since I've seen the episode. I don't know if you feel the
I
same
was
way.
actually familiar with this song before this episode, so I was stoked to get a needle. James Gunn is kind of like, I feel like James Gunn has a similar
In another life, he would have been the ultimate DJ.
He would have.
In Ibiza. No, I'm kidding. Not Ibiza.
But yeah, no, just this montage, just how it cuts back and forth between the two time periods flawlessly. It's awesome. It's great.
Yeah. And also, we see the Will Max was indeed feeling generous, and he gave him the hover conversion.
Yep.
Which I was geeking out about. Like, oh boy, he's got hover conversion. Look at that.
Yeah, that was a wow moment for sure. Yeah.
Again, such brutality with such a gentle song about calling out boy. And it's like, it's delightful. It's kind of a happy moment for him. He's able.
It's almost kind of like the inverse of No Sleep for Brooklyn, right?
Pretty much.
Like that song, like very much fits the carnage. This song is like the inverse of that. It's like, it still totally works, but it's definitely like an opposite tone.
So we kind of cross cut between this and the aftermath of, well, he killed a bunch of neo-Nazis, and he ends up in prison for roughly 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's so weird that again we're going to count the robot like it's not even like ambiguous. There's no, he's not RoboCop. He's not a mixture of the two. He's very full on robot, and yet in a court of law, and yet we're going to imprison him and all that.
I mean, he's literally like in order to power him on, you don't even plug him in. You just feed him gasoline.
Yeah, diesel. Runs on diesel.
Right.
Anyway, so again, this.
And again, I kind of feel like the fact that he does get charged for this crime of, fucking killing Nazis just kind of speaks to how we are a little bit politically ambiguous about that nowadays, which is kind of wild.
And you have to wonder, it was definitely murder. By the same token, though, you got to wonder, was there like an influence of, okay, maybe it's the person on the bench might have had some leanings.
Sure.
I'm saying depending on the jurisdiction, I don't know. Anyway, so zenith of happiness here for G.I. Robot. He's laughing, he's having a good time, he's saving Nina, everything's going great for him. All of Cersei's forces are dead anyways. And by the way, one of the great payoffs that preceded all of that, Rick Flag saying, yes, G.I. Robot, they're Nazis.
Yes, exactly. Totally.
Oh, it's great. And again, I like the parallels to Rick Flag and Sergeant.
Which, I mean, they're woman-killing incels, so it's like basically just as bad.
Plus, I mean, these guys are really bad too. They were going to do something. Yeah. One of them was planning on doing something really bad to the princess.
Exactly.
Before killing her. So
you don't fuck with Maria Bakalova.
No, you don't. No. Anyway, well, unless you're Rick Flag Senior, but aside from that, no.
God.
Anyway, so point being, he's happy, everything's going great, and almost in parallel to Polka Dot Man. Like, I'm a superhero.
It is a little bit like that. Yeah, totally. He's
having his big moment in the sun, and we kill him.
I'm a fucking superhero.
Crush.
Yeah, now, I gotta tell you, like, as much as I do really love this character, I think this was a smart move for a variety of reasons. I think having G.I. Robot be the first death, this is a Suicide Squad show. We gotta kill some people to keep the stakes up. I think it's smart because, obviously we love the guy. He was clearly meant to be a standout fan favorite character. This episode kind of obviously solidifies that, but we loved him even back in the first two episodes. So I feel like we as an audience have grown more attached to this guy than pretty much anyone else on the team. But I also think it was a smart move because, frankly, as much as I do love him, his bit can get a little one note. If basically what I'm saying is now that we know his backstory, and now that he has kind of like reached like essentially nirvana, you know, like the happiest moment that he will ever have in his life, I frankly don't really know if there was anything more to explore with him as a character. Does that make sense?
You know, it completely makes sense in that he's fulfilled his purpose. We have a nice full circle kind of payoff to him. He's basically done he's achieved his life's journey. And beyond that, you know, it's a practical thing, Tiki, where if he can do that every episode, the show's over.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, why wasn't Rick Flag just lie every time they have enemy forces? You know, so yes, they are not.
Right.
I also like
Rick Flag's probably like kicking himself that he didn't think about that sooner.
Well, it's also kind of a nice, like, I like that Rick Flag wasn't, like, for example, Rick Flag really wanted to be mean. He would have just, like, said, yes, Dr. Phosphorus is a Nazi, go on.
Right.
But yeah, just the idea that, you know, you're right, it's James Gunn kind of connecting some political themes there where, okay, so maybe Rick Flag saying, you know, these guys are Nazis is not too far off from the truth. You know, but regardless, you know, it's the fact that we gave him his moment in the sun, where he's not overstaying his welcome. We have kind of our first real death of the season, and you know, we care again. It's impressive we cared about in record time. Like, we're really making the most of our screen time here, and also again 20-minute increments too, which is really impressive.
Sure,
anyway,
sure, exactly.
So yeah, so it's almost like, what if we killed Drax? What if we killed Drax, essentially? Like, maybe in Guardians 2 is kind of what this feels like, you know, in terms we have like a lovely character, he's got a shtick, and then we kill him off, but you know, we've had a lot of attachment to him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so Ben, Nina's reaction though is what's gut wrenching about them. She's holding his
Nina's reaction is absolutely the saddest part of this whole thing. Yeah, you feel worse for her than you feel for him. And I'm not saying you don't feel bad for him, but I'm just saying, like, you know, as we already established, he kind of reached his moment of zen, you know, like he kind of achieved everything he wanted to achieve in life.
It's nice that he's not sad about it, you know. He's had the best day of his life, as far as he's concerned. It's like Lenny and the Rabbits. He's at the best day of his life right now, you know. He's, you know, it's like, but his last words are wonderfully bittersweet. You know, cheers to the Tin Man. You know, he's recounting the happiest moment of his life in this moment. And again, I love that he's kind of regained the easy company in the form of the Creature Commandos.
Sure.
And it's important that he dies in Nina's arms, like literally being a head. He dies in Nina's arms. Like that, I like that he got a chance to say goodbye to her too. That was nice.
Yeah.
Versus just like mid sentence death. So I love that the Commandos kind of rallied to him. And earlier, you have to question how much of this is on principle and them carrying out orders versus how much is them kind of avenging their own. Because earlier, Rick Flag kind of makes this point of like, you know, it's a team of monsters. You're getting kidnapped, damsel in distress. Sack up, guys. And later on, they have this great payoff. Hey, you wanted monsters, and they viciously save the princess and take out Cersei. But she's not dead. But
I love how at the end of the day, it's fucking Weasel who saves the day.
And Dr. Phosphorus, he got his licks in
there. Yeah, but really, like, Weasel is the one who, you know, really just gets the job. Like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go up there. I'm going to scratch the shit out of this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I think, well, Weasel saved the girl. It's important. So Weasel. Yeah. Now, I suspect, you know, we're going to see maybe Weasel try to save those kids, and it didn't go well. That's what I
think that's where we're going. And honestly, I feel like his backstory is going to be the saddest one that we've seen yet because of that.
I think they're teeing up Dr. Phosphorus to be sadder, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see, man. No, I'm with you. My instinct is Weasel, but then again, I've been seeing some teases of Dr. Phosphorus, so I don't know. But with that said, you're right. I think retroactively we might be seeing is like, you know, Weasel kind of having a redemptive moment here in saving the princess.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that's great. And, you know, Phosphorus got to kind of fry someone, which, you know, he's been aching to do. And then we tease. Now, again, so apparently episode 4 is going to be a hugely important episode of the season. Really? It'll be that's at least what Rohit has been going on about.
Oh, no, you're right. I remember him saying
we're going to have a big game changer. This might be kind of like the Sophia Falcone kind of moment for this.
I mean, I kind of feel like with Cersei being kind of like taken off the map as a threat, I kind of feel like that's already a game changer. So,
Yeah.
We're going to really kind of like set the stakes for what the second half of the show is going to be.
But her saying you've doomed the world by not killing the princess, like that is interesting. Now the only thing that I have seen, I have no idea how things are going to coalesce here. All I know is everyone's been going on about like there's some freeze frames from a trailer where you're going to see some like maybe a potentially bad future. There are a lot of dead characters.
Mm-hmm.
Now I suspect that's what this is going to. Somehow Cersei knows all this, but I guess we'll see what happens. But it'll be really interesting to see how we're going to. I don't know if we're going to be able to top paralleling an episode's themes as strongly as we did here. With it's an all GI robot centric episode, very direct, very simple. I don't know. Everything else is going to feel like we have our plot, and then flashback, versus like it's all GI robot.
I don't know though, because I feel like with Weasel, I kind of feel like. The main plot with Weasel is going to be like him essentially being on trial, like it looks like. And then, because we see in the present, we see the person coming and saying that like, hey, like, what do you know about Weasel? Well, he killed 20 children. He killed 8 children, allegedly. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I kind of feel like next episode is going to be all about like Weasel essentially getting a retrial in the present, and then in the past, just showing like the essentially probably him being accused of a crime that turns out he didn't commit. That'd be my guess.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what James Gunn is kind of he suggested in the past too. Like, he said it kind of jokingly, but he said, Weasel, he might get a raw end of the deal there.
So
we'll see what happens, but I'm looking very forward to it.
All right. Anything else?
No, I mean I think this was another victory. I mean, Creature Commandos has not disappointed yet, so yay.
All right, just to shout out some comments. We have Hunter Iggy says, so you want to be an Imagineer? What's up, everyone? Not much, man. Going through some bullshit personally, but other than that, I'm totally fine. Thank you for asking.
Yep, he's killing neo-Nazis. It's not going well for him.
Yeah, it's not. We have Eli saying, what would happen if you had GI Robot and Bender hanging out? I imagine that Bender would probably say some stuff that GI Robot would not be a fan of. Maybe not Nazi level stuff, but I still don't think their personalities would jive all that well. What do you?
I don't think they would jive well. I think it would be more of like it's everything that Bender says is going to fall on deaf ears for GI Robot, unless he says, we could bend the Nazis. Like, yeah.
right.
That's pretty much what I think that's the common ground they're gonna have. Like, we could bend them before we kill them.
Oh, God.
I've never tried that. Let's do that. Let's bend and kill Nazis together. What do you say?
All right.
By the way, I want to share this out real quick. My favorite thing with G.I. I love how his arms turn the guns. I love the design of that.
Totally.
Looks so cool.
Let's see. Eli says, so that's it for GI Robot. Kind of sounds like a waste. Just get rid of him. Not be in any other DC material besides Creature Commandos.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we already said Dragon Ryan, the name of that character that Daniel Craig's playing.
Sergeant Rock.
Right. Like, so Daniel Craig is rumored to be playing him in we don't know what, but we're assuming it would be like a movie about. I'm sorry, Dragon. Remind me of the command, like. The
Easy Company, Sergeant Rock, like a Sergeant Rock movie potentially.
And if we did that, I would imagine that GI Robot would be a part of that. And then also, as we already established, I just kind of feel like with Creature Commandos, it is pretty much a Suicide Squad thing. There are going to be people who are going to die, and I think that this show did a really good job of building up GI Robot to be someone that the audience really likes, but also someone who is a little bit overpowered to the plot and also like doesn't really have a lot of other character stuff to work through past this episode. So I don't really think he would have been more of a hindrance if we would have kept him around, just because of the whole like, well, why doesn't Rick Flag just tell him that everybody that's a threat is a Nazi and then it'd just be over. So I definitely don't think it was a waste to kill him. I think it was a really smart move and kind of a good, I think it was a really smart choice for a first death in a Suicide Squad series. It's very impactful on an emotional level, but also, doesn't really affect the story. If anything, him dying kind of frees up the story potential a little bit. All right. What about G.I. Robot and the robot character Brendan Fraser plays, Dragon?
Well, again, Tiki, I think I've told you about Doom Patrol is a show you would love. By the way, it's really good.
I need to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So honestly, they would be really funny to see those two interact because Robot Man, that's Brendan Fraser's character. He would probably be like, "Yeah, man, f the Nazis. Let's go find some neo Nazis and kill them." Basically he would initially look at him and say, "What the f's wrong with this guy?"
Mm.
And then they would probably, he'd basically listen to what he's saying, and they says, "You know what? Maybe you're right. Like F the Nazis. Or basically he would either complain about it, but at some point there'd be some common grounds. That probably tracks.
Sure. All right, well, that's about it. So thanks to Eli, as well as a brief cameo by Hunter Iggy for coming on in the comments. We will see y'all next week for the Weasel episode. Have a good one, folks. See y'all later. Let's go kill some Nazis. Killing Nazis.
Coin operated boy.